Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about our experiences on campus, being disabled, but specifically being blind. I brought in my friend here, Kaylynn. Say hi.
Hello.
I'm blind. We're both blind, blonde, whatever. But, yeah. I always like to start off with the story of when we went to class and this guy comes up to us and he's like, "Is that a pogo stick?" And we were both like, "What?"
Oh, yes. Before that, he actually asked us if it was like a trash grabber. Or would you pick up trash? And then moved on to the pogo stick comment. So
Yeah,
we did, in fact, have to educate him that it's a cane.
Kaylynn was not very happy, but I thought it was very funny.
I was so confused.
I thought it was very funny. I was like, "Yes, this is a pogo stick," and I use it everywhere I go.
I honestly forgot because like sometimes you're so used to it, you kind of forget that you're walking around with a cane and it just becomes normal life. And then somebody made a comment and I was like, what? It took me a minute to register.
Okay, we like to educate about the cane. It's called a cane, not a stick, everyone. I know a lot of people say stick. I don't really know why. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But a stick is what you throw outside for a dog to go catch.
Yes. There's a lot more terminology to it, and honestly, it's a little demeaning to call it a stick when there are so many more components to how it all works.
Yes. And Kaylynn and I, we went to lunch or dinner one time, and this guy we were waiting for our Uber, and this guy comes up to us, and he's like, "You guys are too young to have canes." And we both looked at him, we're like, "We're blind." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. And then the speech happens. We call this there's a thing called speech because I was at tutoring. And she's like, "The reference is at the bottom." And I was like, "I know, but it's a different format." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm blind." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know how you do it. I would just trip all the time." And I was like, "That's not really helpful." Yeah. I mean, thank you. I don't know. It's just not. I mean, I get the sympathy, but we don't like the sympathy. We don't like the pity. We don't. It's not.
The pity party is not our favorite thing.
It's not, because it's if you think about it, someone comes up to you and they're like, "I'm so sorry," because it just makes me feel bad. And I remember when I first coming on campus, there's a thing where we have mobility training. That's sort of how if you see blind people and we know where we're going. We have a mobility instructor that helps us with the routes and getting landmarks, all that type of stuff. And we're walking, and this lady comes up to us. She's like, "You're blind?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "That's not helpful." And I said it straight to her face because it really bothers me. I'm like, "That's really not helpful." I mean, Kaylynn and I, we talk about it. Instead of being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," maybe being right?
Yeah, so an alternative to that is talking about how that person is inspirational and how you're inspired by them.
Look at you go. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a lot more helpful than "I'm sorry," because "I'm sorry" really implies that there's something wrong with that person.
No one, if you have a bad haircut and you go in and say, "I'm sorry for," no one wants that.
Yeah.
Or come up and say, "Hi, I'm whatever. I've seen you in my class," or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a really big thing to talk about is if you're going to approach someone who's blind, don't wave. You'd think it's pretty obvious, but it's not. And if you just say hi, we're not going to know it's you. Most of the time, we don't think you're talking to us.
Yeah.
So say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is where you met me." And then we're going to know.
And especially if we just met you. I mean, I sort of pick up the voices, but that it would take me a little bit. If I just met you, say your name, please. Yeah. It's helpful. There was one time I was going on the grass and this guy came up to me and he's like, "Hi, I'm whatever. What's your name?" And I'm like, "Hi, whatever." And I was just and I walked away from it. And he's like, "Oh, I see you all the time on the grass." And sort of good job. And I was and I walked away being like, "Is that a student or is that a professor?" I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I trail the grass because it's the way I do it. I trail the grass and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're on the grass." I'm like, "Thank you. I know that." It's funny because I think a lot of people feel I don't know. I guess they think that I can't. I don't know, that we don't get feedback from our cane, which is sort of funny.
Yes. So the way that the cane works is it has a cord in it that attaches to what we call our marshmallow. which is the roller at the end. So through that cord and up into the handle, we get all the context from the ground. So we can tell whether we're on asphalt, concrete, grass. That's what tactile strips are for, which are those yellow things at the crosswalk with the bumps on them. They're for blind people to differentiate when they're about to cross into the street. So we can get all of that feedback very well through our canes. We know we're on the ground.
Yeah, it's so funny because like people in class are like, this one guy in class, he was like, okay, he was like, oh, I see you on the grass line. And I'm like, yep, that's me. It's just sort of funny, but that's a technique in mobility where they teach you is to differentiate with the texture. It's a little difficult to me because it just started, but I think Kaylynn, you used that a lot, really, as a technique.
Shorelining?
No, the texture on the ground.
Oh, yes. So you can differentiate like where you are on campus by the texture on the ground.
Yeah, like some are smooth, some are rough. You get the point.
The cobblestone is our least favorite. Anything with cracks, because if the crack is uneven, you will jab yourself in the stomach with it, and that hurts.
Campus, they have it's so uneven, and there's multiple times where but I stab myself with my cane because it gets stuck, and it goes under my shirt, and I'm like, oh my god, everyone just saw that.
Yeah. I've had so many bruises. I'll be black and blue from my cane. Yeah,
it's just, whatever. I don't recommend. But yeah, there's been some people that have asked me some interesting questions. There's one guy that asked me, how do I go to the bathroom? And I said, I get up and I go. And he's like, do you use a specific toilet? I'm like, no. And I was like, okay, there's no dumb questions, but that was sort of a dumb question.
Yes. So that's very important. We always encourage people to ask questions to bridge the gap in the communication barrier. That's very important. If you have a respectful question, please ask it. It's better than just sitting there and there being that awkward animosity because you're too afraid to ask it. However, we do recommend that you take a second, like any other, sentence that comes out of your mouth. Take a second. Think about it. Think about whether it's going to be politically correct, whether it's appropriate for that setting, and maybe refrain if it's not.
Yeah. But we encourage questions. If there's someone I just ask, I'm telling them oh, I'm even over text usually oh, I'm blind, and I'm open for you to ask questions if you feel, because it sort of takes out the awkwardness. It's better. And that's sort of how I do it. I sort of I'm blind, here I can answer any questions you have. Because when I wasn't blind, I was sort of oh my god, I have so many questions because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's funny that one guy that was you're on the grass, at class. He was you were my other class. And he's I have a question. I'm yeah, go ahead. And so he asked me 12 questions. And I felt bad because I was sort of messing with him. And I'm what did you just say to me? Because people are so afraid to offend me. And I'm no, it's okay. And I get it. I totally get it. And I started messing with him, which I feel sort of bad about. But it's okay. You're not going to offend us. Ask us a question. If you do offend us, we might say, no, I'm just kidding. I think usually for the majority of the time, we're totally good with any
Yes,
question.
The majority of questions are good. But, just consciously think about it.
Yeah, and
how do you go to the bathroom? The same as everybody else.
Yeah, it's just, I was where do these people get these questions? Yeah, I just don't know. Oh my gosh. So... yeah, the question thing. Yeah, please. Also, there's another thing where, ask us if we need help. Don't automatically assume we need help because we're very independent people. Yes, actually,
absolutely. The biggest thing that I've seen that with is the stairs. For some reason, people think that I can't do stairs. We can do the stairs. I went on vacation recently, and there was a waiter in a restaurant who was don't take the stair. He was just freaking out, and I was it's okay. I can do it, so don't assume that we can't do something or that we do need help. But, if you want to offer it, we're not trying to demonize offering help, but
yeah, we're sort of like a lot of people are oh, do you need help? And I'm sort of no, I'm good. Thank you though. And that's it. We move on.
But it's a thank you though, compared to we've both had people just push us.
Yeah,
like start helping without asking.
I asked her like to go to the bathroom or tell me to go to the bathroom, and we walked out of the class, and she was grabbing me by my like sweater or my shirt, and I was like, no, like that's just like I feel like a child. Or some people like grab my wrist, and I'm like, I don't like that. Even if they don't ask me, they just like grab my wrist, and I'm like, I don't like that. Don't.
So there is a correct way, which is called sighted guide. If you're interested, you can look it up. Or you can always ask the blind person, hey, how would you like me to guide you? And then we will teach you sighted guide. Yes. It's much better than being grabbed or pushed, especially if we don't know that it's going to happen. If you've just decided that we needed help instead of asking, that can be frightening. You might get punched in the face because we don't know, who you are, why you're there. And all of a sudden you're trying to help. But we don't know that you're trying to help. Yeah.
I remember that there was, going back to the question thing, I don't know if you remember, but it was like the beginning of last year, I think. And there was a couple guys that came up to us and they're like, how do you guys know how to do that? Or we're like, oh, we have mobility training. And they were like, oh, that's so cool. And then that was it. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people think like there's also, we're mentally, cognitive. Not there.
Yeah, not everybody that's blind has cognitive decline or developmental delay or anything like that. It's a spectrum. Mm-hmm. So the spectrum of disability is obviously really big, and then the spectrum of blindness itself. Some people are visually impaired. Some people are legally blind. Normal vision is 20/20. Legally blind is 20/200. So that's when the government doesn't allow you to drive, and you kind of become more limited in the things that you can do. Yeah. Normally around when people start using a cane. Mm-hmm. However, there is a differential then at about 2,400 is when you're pretty much going to be required to read Braille. So there is different standards. It's a whole spectrum of blindness. So not everyone that you meet who's blind is going to be completely blind. Don't get scared by that. It's okay. Most of us, I believe actually 80% are not completely blind.
Yeah, I remember my mom's colleague a couple of years ago. This is before I became blind. And she I don't know. I was like, I have so many questions. And she's like, everyone I've met I've never met someone that's completely blind. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And it's just like a different, obviously there is completely blind. But it's a wide spectrum. It really is. I want to go back to the pity thing because I think it's really important. Kaylynn and I, we also had another thing where Kaylynn and I, we were in class and something happened. Like the professor, she like lowered my grade because I didn't like hit enter after the URL, whatever, something stupid. And I was like, hey, like I'm completely blind. Like that's sorry. Like I didn't hit enter. Like, oh my gosh. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like again with the pity thing. And I actually like without thought. What did I say? I was like...
You said, actually, I like my life.
Yeah, I was like, actually, no, I really like my life. And I didn't even think about it. I just said it because it's just like, yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, the pity party doesn't help. Saying, I'm sorry for your loss really just makes it like a loss. It
and it's just,
points out
doesn't remind
the defect.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the bad, not the good. And yeah, I just... Whatever. Anyway.
Absolutely. So the alternative that we normally say to use if you want to say something is something about how inspiring that person is. Or again, asking them a question about how they do that or how you would like them to better accommodate. Things like that. But normally, I'm sorry can be quite demeaning. As like I said, it points out the defectiveness. It really puts the spotlight on a lot of like insecurity and stuff. So make it a positive thing instead of a negative thing.
Yeah, I just, it's very important. I think just asking questions, I think a lot of people are afraid to like come up to us or like, cause it's awkward. It is. I can see that cause I was, blind and I just, whatever. And I think people are just like sort of shy away from us cause it's like, we're there. We're good. Like you can talk to me. Like it's funny cause Kaylynn and I, if we're just sitting here and you don't see our cane, you really wouldn't tell that like we're blind unless we say something or we have our cane or something like that. So I don't know. I just like we're good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so funny because in the cafeteria one time Kaylynn and I both asked for help or assistance, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, there's 2 of them," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so funny."
So now it's the running joke. We're the other one.
The other one.
The phone contact.
She's the other one on my phone number. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Ugh, oh my goodness.
But please don't group us all together. That's another thing. Yes. Not every blind person is the same as the other blind person you meet. Yes. That's a problem many people in the disabled community have, is you group an entire community all together. And while we are a part of the same disabled community, we're not the same people. We are also, this is a good segue too, we are not the blind girl.
Yes.
We hate that.
We're not the blind girl. We're Brie and Kaylynn. We're not... I don't know. A lot of people do that, actually. Even, like, Kaylynn and I, our old friend that we knew for, like, a year. I remember there was one time we were on the phone, and he was, like, on the phone with me, and he's, like, talking to his mom, and he's like, "Mom, I'm on with Brie, the blind girl." And I was just like, that's not my name. That's not who I am. Like, obviously, it's part of me, but it's not me. And I was just really frustrated and really annoyed. And I was just like, that's not me. Like, I'm not the blind girl. So just don't call us the blind person. Be like, oh, like if you, I don't know, Kaylynn, your perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same as saying any other characteristic. So instead, memorize our names or ask us our names.
Yes.
But please don't use the blind girl. It's just quite disrespectful.
Yeah, and it's not, a blind girl could be like anybody. And I remember like this guy that used to go to our school. He doesn't go anymore. But he was like, he like texted me and on Snap or something. And he's like, "Oh, I feel like I know you." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "I feel like you're the blind girl." And I was like, "That's not my name." And I said, first of all, I said, "There's 2 of us. Which one?" And then I got annoyed. And he's like, "The blonde one." Or first he was like, I know you. And I'm like, "Which one am I?" He's like, "The blonde one." I'm like, Kaylynn and I are both blonde. It was just funny. But we're not the blind girl.
No.
Please don't call us that. Don't be like, "Oh, you're the blind girl." Be like, "Oh, you're the blonde one," or "You're the one that I see with the cane," or I don't know, something like that.
Or just ask us our name. That works too.
That works probably better.
That's why we are given names at birth. So they will be used.